Hey everyone, JB Fine here, back with another controller review. I figured I'd make the series about reviewing controllers, both well-known and lesser well-known controllers. Now when I talk about lesser known controllers, I'm talking about underrated controllers that you'd find from online shopping platforms. The brandless, the weird looking type of controllers that you probably have never heard before. So with that said, let's get into today's controller. And we have the X3 Bluetooth compatible wireless gamepad joystick joypad controller for PC, mobile phone, Android. Yeah, it's a mouthful. And it's one of those controllers that first pop up on the results when you just look up for a controller, whether it's for PC or you literally just put in controller, and this is one of the controllers that first pop up. So I figured, since it's pretty cheap, why not have a go at it and see how well it does for both PC and mobile phone devices on Android. As always, I'll leave the link in the description if you want to take a look at the controller for yourself. With that said, we'll do the usual unboxing and then testing it on several games, and then I'll give my conclusive thoughts on how good and how bad is the controller. So this time we'll also test the controller on different games aside from GGPO, which is, my biased game as a fighting game player, so we can see its capabilities, whether it's really nice to use in other games, or maybe it's better to just use the phone controls. We'll see. Alright, here we go. So right here we have the package already, so I'm gonna open it up and see how it looks in the package as well. Trying to see if you guys can see it well, although as usual it's nothing too special. So it arrives in too many tapes maybe. So it arrives in the usual box covered with foam. You always want to have a store that delivers their products to you in this manner. I never want it to be damaged in any way. So here, that's what it looks like. Now let's try and pull it out. So here's what it looks like. The box is crumpled a little, but I'm guessing it probably came with during delivery. The damage came with the delivery is what I'm trying to say. So it says wireless controller support for pad, phone, smart box, smart TV, and PC, which is quite a bit of platforms to use on. I doubt it would ever work on console, so this is probably what they went for right here. So now let's open it and take a look. Okay, so you don't open it from the top, just on the side. As long as the controller works, looks really good. I don't have too many complaints about the box. Oh wow, there's a lot that dropped from underneath it. So from underneath it had these two right here. Alright, so they have I'm guessing this is the phone holder, similar to the last controller we reviewed, and we have a USB-B controller, or micro USB controller. Micro USB-B to micro USB controller. Alright. Anyways, the controller, here it is. So it's in PlayStation format. It looks decent enough. We even have a home button right here. Oh, just pressing it already turns on. It already has the red light right there. Do I hold it to turn it off, I guess? Yeah, so let's take a look at it. So nothing on the back here. And we have the usual layout here. It's XYBA. And we have the D-pad, the analog sticks, the start and select button, home button, which I'm guessing is how you turn on Bluetooth mode for PC and Android controls. And we also have the bumpers and triggers. I don't know if there's R3 and L3. There probably is. I can press the buttons right here, the analog sticks. So we'll also test that capability out. And there's also the place where you can insert the micro USB, whether to charge, or I'm guessing you can also use wired. Now I also want to see how I can connect this thing, so let's see, how does this work? So this part right here is the one that you can extend. So I'm guessing this is where you put your phone for sure. Maybe it's supposed to be like this. Let me see. Okay, so let me try and demonstrate it here. So you have this thing, right? It was folded originally. So you have the part that you can extend for your phone right here. So you're gonna use this to put your controller in. Like that. Then you kind of force it a bit, and right that. Looks like that. That's where you put your phone. Let me try putting my phone on it. Like that. I always like mobile devices, or like controllers rather, that have a holder for when you're gonna use your phone for it. And it also has a hole in it, so you can still put your micro USB. So that's nice. Alright, so now that I guess it's also worth seeing if the micro USB controller works. Micro USB thing. So I'm gonna connect it right here. Right here it's connected. The only place I can really try this out is on PC, so let's see. Okay, so on my desktop, it's actually setting up device or setting up wireless controller. So it's connected to my PC. It's actually installing the drivers, I guess, and setting it up. There, device is ready. Wireless controller is set up and ready to go. So now we get to the part where we have to test out whether this controller works for several games, whether on PC and on mobile devices, Android devices. Okay, so quick update. It's been 6 months since the original unboxing footage that I just showed you. I kinda wasn't able to follow through with the original footage at the time because I kinda lost the time to do it, as well as I basically forgot that I even had this X3 review footage. And additionally, in the 6 months that I wasn't able to make this video, I also lost two things. So one, the original phone holder that came with the X3 controller, and the original black micro USB cable, which I replaced by ordering a micro USB cable online, which is white now, but I don't think it should be too much of a big deal. First of all, I think that any micro USB cable should work with the controller, so being able to use a different micro USB controller is a good test. And second, the phone holder, I don't think it should be too much of a big deal as an accessory. I'm gonna focus this video on how well the X3 controller works, how well it can be used in the two platforms of mobile devices and PC. So again, I'm gonna continue from where I left off. I'm gonna try play games from both PC and mobile devices that try to make use of all of the buttons and features that the X3 controller has to offer. Okay, so the first thing I would like to demonstrate is how to use the Bluetooth capabilities of the X3 controller with your mobile phone. So as it's dictated in the Shopee page of the X3 controller, you get your controller. Alright, you have your Bluetooth turned on. Make sure that scanning is enabled. You hold the X button and then you hold the home button. And you get a blinking icon here, the number 3. So if you try and scan again, you get the gamepad plus version 3. And then you see when you try and pair it, the light stops blinking, and then you get the Bluetooth pairing quest. You pair it. So now your phone is connected to the X3 controller. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate one game per platform of PC and mobile devices. For mobile device, we're going to try it, of course, on GGPO. So here's the app. I'm gonna open Third Strike with it. Press play. Now I'm gonna put it in landscape for a better view. Also lower down the camera so you guys can also see the control. So first things first, I'm going to set the hardware inputs for this game. I'm gonna use up, down, left, right. A for light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. I'm gonna put it on R1. And then the kicks, I'm gonna put it on A, B, and then L1 for heavy kick. For start, I'm gonna put it on the default one, start. Coins for the select button, and then menu, I'll try putting it on the R3. And then we also have chat, we're gonna put it on L3. Because I have a feeling the L3 and R3 button triggers are gonna work really well. So I wanna try the L3 R3 buttons, which feel a much more unusual buttons to be using. So here we are, we're gonna put the coins in using the select button. I now have 1 credit. So we're gonna use Ibuki to showcase the game right now. And we're gonna go and try fight Sean. So these are all the punch buttons, kick buttons. Yeah, that's the kick button. So L1, R1 are working really well, and the D-pad is also working well. Able to jump diagonally. The L3 button. Okay, so L3 button does open a portion of the menu, but I don't think this is the best way to test it. Again, let's try some of the simple motion inputs. We can do a fireball, we can do Tatsumaki. Even did a parry unintentionally there. And I don't know if you can see that well, but Ken's also doing Shoryuken. Okay, this is gonna be much harder to do combos here. But the point is, the controller is responsive enough to be able to do the motion inputs, to be able to do all of the attacks with pretty low lag. I don't think there's that much lag, but I do feel a bit. But it's definitely on a much more playable state that I wouldn't really mind using this to play around with. So with this, we were able to so far prove that the right hand buttons are all working very well. The D-pad buttons are working well. The L1, R1 buttons are working well. Start, select. And to some degree, we were able to use R3 and L3. And most importantly, we were able to use the Bluetooth capabilities of this controller on mobile devices, and it works well. So we're gonna try and use the L2 and L3 triggers on PC, as well as the R3, L3. Okay, so now we're at the PC showcase of the X3 controller. So first, I want to try using the Bluetooth capabilities for controller to PC. So as far as I know, you only need to turn on the controller with a simple press. So now it's blinking again. Now I'm going to try and add it from my PC. So here that I put the add device, we instantly get Gamepad Plus version 3. I'm gonna click on that. Oh, try connecting to your device again. And there we go. The controller is connected now. The blinking stops, so I'm pretty sure it's more or less connected. So now we can try and play a game. Okay, so the game that I wanted to showcase on PC with the X-Ray controller is Hat in Time. I think 3D platformer games will be the best way to try out all the features of a controller. So here you can just see the left analog stick movement, camera movements working really well. And this is just Bluetooth, by the way. And next we have the right hand buttons, the attack button, the free camera button, and I don't remember if the B button had any function in Hat in Time. But then we have the jump button working well. You're also able to use the D-pad controls, L1, R1 resetting the camera, and then now we are trying the trigger buttons, R2, L left trigger, or L2, that's focusing on objective, and R3, oh wait, no, this is L3. L3 is one of the emotes or messages for when you're playing co-op. You can see I'm clicking it right here. And then R3 is also resetting your camera. And one thing I'm actually very impressed with is that it's not lagging too much. There's not much input delay. Because, truth be told, I have tried playing with my PlayStation 4 controller, and the Bluetooth functionality is actually really bad. I don't know why. I assumed it was because of my hardware, but look at this. There's barely any delay or any issue when I'm playing with the X-Ray controller on Bluetooth. It's weird. So as you can see, it's working really well. This is actually really impressive results, with all things considered. But yeah, this is just gonna be really short. And that's gonna be it for the PC showcase. Okay, so another thing I figured I'd also show is the micro USB capability here. So right now, there's no light showing from the X3 controller. What I'm basically trying to show is that the Bluetooth mode for the controller is turned off. As you can see that there is no responses in the game as I'm pressing the buttons. So now I'm gonna try and connect it. So again, like I said, I replaced the original micro USB controller with another one that I ordered online. Pretty generic. So if you heard that, I was able to connect the micro USB. And it says in the game there's a new input, the Xbox 360. And as you can see, the controller is working. So whether you want to play on Bluetooth or on wired, both options are available when you choose to play on this X3 controller. Yeah, so all of the buttons are now working. I believe I've been able to test all of the capabilities of this X3 controller. So now I will be heading to the conclusion part of this video. So now I'm gonna give my conclusion for the X3 controller. My general thoughts on this controller is that it's really good. A lot more than I expected, and then it basically exceeded all of my expectations. This controller basically advertised itself as a Bluetooth and wired controller that works for both PC and Android. And that is exactly what it set itself off to do. It works both ways. It works really well on Bluetooth for Android and PC with almost no lag, with almost no input lag. And it can also be used in wired. Although I wasn't able to test it on Android, the wired works really well on PC as well. I also won't be able to avoid this, but I have to compare both the X3 controller and my PlayStation 4 controller, for the reason that the PlayStation 4 controller has been pretty disappointing for how expensive I had to spend on it. With that said, I want to focus on all of the pros of this controller, so I'm gonna list down all of the positive features about it. So first of all, it's complete in buttons. It's meant to be a controller that's just like a PlayStation 4 or any PlayStation controller. So it has all a D-pad, all of the four right-hand side buttons, analog sticks along with the R3 and L3 buttons. It has the right bumper and left trigger buttons right here, and it all works really well. Second is that Bluetooth works. It's not just that it can connect to a device, but it has barely any lag, almost no input lag on these controllers when you're using it to play on any platform. And I'd say it's also worth noting as a pro that it works both on PC and Android. I mean, if you're only going to play on PC, then I don't see any reason why you would think that it would be a downside that it only plays on PC. Especially if you're like only a PC player, then I don't see any reason why this would be a bad controller for you. As long as it works on both PC and Android being a bonus already since you're mostly just probably gonna be playing on PC, this is already a super good controller. Another comparison I'd also like to make with the PlayStation 4 controller is that this is very, very light. Right? There's a decent weight for the PlayStation 4 controller, but this one, it feels like a container with barely anything inside. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was empty when I would open this controller. It's very, very light as compared to any controller. This is even lighter than my mobile phone. It's that light. Not a super big pro, but I also do want to mention the micro USB, since I did lose the original black micro USB controller this originally came in with. I replaced it with another one and it works really well with still no lag or any other issue that I might have expected to get when I changed the cable for this. So since this controller is working really well, it basically did what it promised to do. I wanted to list down the cons, which I'd say there isn't really much. The only con that I could really think of is that it's limited platforms. If you really wanted to play on the PlayStation 4 console, then you're not gonna be able to with this controller. So if you go to like events, offline events outside, you might not be able to bring this or be able to use it that much unless it's a PC event. If it's like a console event or a fighting game tournament, you're most probably not gonna be able to use it that much. And yeah, I think that's about all the cons that I can mention. I don't really think that the fact that this is a light controller is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Makes it easier to bring around. And yeah, I think that's it. That's literally the only con I can mention for it. Overall, would I recommend anyone getting this controller? Yes. If you're a PC only player, then this is definitely a really good controller to get. True enough that it doesn't have any branding, it doesn't look legit, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I think that's the only important point to really mention when you're using a controller. Overall, a really good standard controller that anyone can use. You can probably just give this as a little gift to anyone who needs a controller. And that is why the overall rating that I would like to give this X3 controller is a 5 out of 5. Completely. Like, there's no reason why I would give a score lower than that. As a PC only player, this is a pretty good controller to use. I've been having fun with it. There's no really any downside to it. I would have tried to give it a lower score if there was any input lag to it, but no. I'm so surprised that the Bluetooth, especially for the PC, is working really well when my PlayStation 4 controller is working really bad. The only thing I couldn't really mention too much about is the durability. Because even though it has been 6 months since I bought this controller, I didn't really use it that much, so I don't know if maybe one smack or one controller drop might damage it or break it, and that's the only thing I can't really say too much about. Maybe in the future I'll mention it if suddenly the controller breaks from whatever reason. But yeah, this is a good controller. Up to you if you want it, if you're a PC player. So yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed this kind of video, consider dropping a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.